Oh, hey. So, I thought for our next little meeting, we'd go over some terms that might come up in our videos. They're kind of simple, some of them are real straightforward, and others might actually become topics for future videos. So, let's go ahead and dive right into the topics. Some of them will be kind of obvious, I'm not gonna lie. Other ones may be completely foreign to you. I know I actually learned quite a few things while reading up on this. So, let's start with a term we all know, and I probably can't actually say this word on YouTube, so it's just gonna pop up here. This is a term that media created that focuses on homoerotic relationships, with the main focus being explicit content. Here is what it actually stands for, or at least one accepted translation. It's roughly being no climax, no point, no meaning. Literally just meaning you're not here for the plot. It was actually coined as a joke to poke at fun at the next term on our list, which is shonen ai. While its claimed target audience was shonen readers, which is typically young boys, it was very clearly aimed towards shoujo readers, which are young girls, or more like teenagers. Hence why the term isn't too popular nowadays, and in fact, you kinda get looks when you call it shonen ai. Our next term is actually a word I didn't know before. Kanbi. An old term meaning the worship and pursuit of beauty. It's a heavily flowery way of writing, which is apparently hard to read for foreigners. I'd actually like to see this genre come back, but at the same time, I already can see the trouble with translations and how sometimes things get lost in it. I have a feeling it'd be a mess to read. The next term on our list is bara, a term for stories written by men for men. Typically, they portray more mature and realistic depictions of gay relationships. The men tend to be more muscular and masculine. You're kind of more standard, less, feminine types would be shown here. Our next one on the list is boys love. While this is still a common, newer term geared towards women who enjoy male-male relationship stories. The next two terms are probably my least favorite on this entire list. Mainly because they have kind of, especially the first one of the pair, have pretty bad indications or assumptions. The first one on the pairing list that I'm not really fond of using, and I honestly will probably only mention them again in a historical sort of video, maybe going into the history of the words, is fujoshi, meaning rotten girl. Female fans of the subject, I don't really like the term, as I've seen it kind of used to dismiss certain people of the rainbow. Mainly trans men that tend to, enjoy this genre. They get written off as this word. The second half of that would be fudanshi, which is just the male version of rotten boy. Though I've never actually seen it used, at least not in the online spaces I have, but then again, they are kind of English dominated, so that would explain that. But I assume that it probably also has negative connotations attached to it, or maybe it doesn't? I'm not really sure. If anyone knows, well, to be fair, I'm probably gonna figure it out anyway when I do a special video on the terms. So our next word is a little odd, actually. It's nonke, which is technically just straight in Japanese, but in this setting it would be a character that is straight in the beginning. But honestly, I don't really like these, I was straight until I met so-and-so, and now suddenly I like eggplants. I'm gonna say it's more like a closeted story of someone coming to terms with the fact that they may not be fully straight. Our next topic is bishonen, which honestly even people who don't like this genre probably know this term fairly well. It literally translates to beautiful boys. Usually drawn and slender, more feminine. This is kind of what, again, is geared more towards women, but I have known gay men that also like this sort of type. That I don't want to mention this one, but I kind of have to. Impreg, male pregnancy, kind of self-explaining. I will likely not be covering any of these on this, as I don't know a way to let's just say they're not really plot heavy, and I can only cover so much on this channel without getting completely banned. So the next one on our list is sen, or tachi, a term that refers to the dominant person in the relationship, or in just plain gay terms, stereotypically it would be like the top. The tropes include them being more masculine. Again, we are only speaking of stereotypes because we're boiling them down to genres, not that that is inherently right or wrong. In fact, I'll be making videos for basically all these following terms of types, subgenres, sub-character types. So, if they seem kind of stereotypical, they are. That's just kind of how writing is. You tend to have to put things in simple terms and then you define them further. Now, for the opposite of this, it'd be uke or Nico. I will say the second word of these next terms, I haven't really heard, but again, maybe they're more popular again in the country this is based off of, which is Japan. But I'm assuming that most who are, well, clicking these videos probably know the first term. Anyway, the opposite of the previous term, they're the bottom essentially. They're depicted more feminine, more typically demure, shy. The next one on our list is riba, or sick. And essentially, I would say it's more like, and just again, plain gay terms, a switch or verse. Basically, they can be either the top or bottom. It's kind of just that simple. The next one on our list is actually more like a genre within it, I guess, but it is, okay, I can say it. Faith in myself. Gekukujo, which basically means lower dominates upper, which is basically the top is from a lower class or a lower position in a job, let's say, and the bottom is, well, their boss or their lord or, you know, something like that. Basically just a swap of power dynamics. Anyway, I thought we'd go over some simple terms that may come up in the stories we read. After all, some are, well, self-aware enough to know what they are really. That being said, I plan on making more videos on these terms and even some history attached to them, especially the terms that describe the genre itself and why they became popular and why they fell out of popularity. And possibly even going over some well-known publishers and maybe their histories, because, well, why not? It's kind of interesting to see basically the progression, since technically Japan has never quite had super strict laws against, well, anything LGBT, really. Not that they're necessarily, you know, pro-LGBT. It's a very nuanced topic, and I feel like we could cover here. After all, we may be covering, well, some odd material, but that doesn't mean you can't, you know, sprinkle in some actual history and, well, education in it, right? You gotta make it look a little educational. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to come back with another review soon. Bye! I'm gonna Google how to pronounce that real quick. We're gonna cut this out. I should have looked, but I'm tired. Leave me alone. June was the original term for all the previous phrases. Oh my god, fuck me. June was the original term for all the previous phase. My fucking god, phrases, not phases.